welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
I'm
We actually
behind
have
the
our
corn.
mic today.
Yeah. She's behind the corn.
Children of the corn.
Yes. I'm trying to do a little fall theme here. It's a little much, but it's cute. Very cute.
We can move it.
We can
it doesn't
move
have to be there.
We can put it between us
Yeah,
like
there
that.
you go.
How's that?
There you go.
That's good. We are back. I'm back.
Yes,
I
she
had a
is.
very long week, which I will tell you all about. It's very funny. But we are back this week. It's Happy September and Happy, what is it? Labor Day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Labor Day
National
weekend.
Sewing Month or
National,
something.
no, that's
Yeah.
convenient. Yeah, because I gave myself a new assignment this month.
Did you really?
Because you don't have enough to do.
You have no idea. Okay, so yeah, so we didn't decide who's going first, but I guess I'll jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you want to go first?
Uh-huh.
All right,
okay.
Eve's going first.
Okay, so
I'm going to do this.
I've been very busy, but also not getting as much done as I intended.
You say that every week.
Well, because I don't know what happened. I mean, yesterday I could have been sewing, and I said, "No, I'll go see chickens with you." So I finished this bag.
That is gorgeous.
It measures
It's a
15
quilted
and a half
bag.
high by 17 inches wide, and it's quilted, and the inside is the same fabrics, just
That's
two
so
of the
nice.
fabrics. And
Ooh.
on the Etsy shop, it's called Snowball Star, because that's the pattern. That's this pattern. And it has a matching notions
That's
bag.
a nice big notions bag.
It's 7 by 7 with a zipper, and it has blue inside.
That's so pretty.
The blue that's inside of this is the same blue that's on the top portion of this.
Uh-huh. Nice.
So,
what a beautiful set.
and
it's- you're selling it as a set.
It's a set.
Mhm.
Yes, it's a set. So
Nice.
I finished that.
That's a huge accomplishment.
And I worked yesterday, day before yesterday, I worked all day on computer stuff. Her pattern, blessed, is this close to being up.
Cool.
I've already got it open where I'm starting to work with things, but I needed her to proof it and make
Yeah.
sure it's what she wanted. And then because I wanted to do a spooky Halloween project, like I don't have enough projects.
Don't apologize.
I decided I needed more room in my bag. This bag has like, I don't know, 10 projects in it. They're all the ones I take with me. They're smaller projects. So I finished this.
Let's put up a picture. What does that say?
It says Let Freedom
Ring.
Ring. I
Oh,
mean,
cute.
I started it in May, but
That's nice.
I discovered that it wasn't that I was stitching on dark fabric that was the problem with my making so many mistakes on it. The problem was, putting things in the wrong place. I obviously have counting issues, but once I got the eye drops from the doctor, when my eyes are clear most of the time, I can see the holes.
Imagine that.
So I finished that. I haven't FFO'd it, but
How are you going to do it? Do you know?
The other one, when did you finish the other one?
What's the one on the
the
top?
other one I finished in June. What?
Oh, that's it. Oh.
Yeah, this one, and there's a third one that goes with it. And I remember
Oh, yeah,
I bought
Proud to
that.
be an American.
Remember I bought that USA.
Box thing?
No, it's a flat wooden panel.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna.
The shape of the... Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna attach that
The United States.
to that so that when it's a holiday that needs flags, I can just put it up as one piece somewhere. So
yeah, I remember that now.
and then I
It's
started.
a wooden thing in the shape of the U.S. map.
I started. Oh, I showed them both of them, but I didn't show you guys. Sorry. So this is Proud to be American and Let Freedom Ring by Stitching with the Housewives. And then for the showstopper,
Showstopper is... Watch it, Beth.
Oh,
you have
sorry.
this
it's
screen.
sorry.
Stitch Camp.
September...
September
Challenge.
Showstopper.
We started in
Sal,
September.
Or
Yeah.
Showstopper.
We started in September, but we don't have to finish it for the whenever we finish
It's
it.
not part of the.
It's not
official
you don't have to
Frosted
finish it in a
Stamp.
month or anything like that. Because I would have had to say, no, this is the wrong bag. I would have had to say,
No.
yeah, I can't do that. So I started my showstopper September, but my showstopper is actually four separate things.
I think
I'm working.
Did we show these last week?
I think so.
I think I
Did we?
remember pictures of
The
those.
spring, which
Yeah.
is the one I started.
Yeah, we showed these last week in our
Yeah.
photos. Yeah.
And the summer and fall and winter. Winter is birds. I can't wait to get started on that one, but I'm going to do them in order. Anyway, I started my spring one.
The buggies.
Mm-hmm.
The beetle.
I
That's
started-
a pretty beetle.
It is beautiful, but you know, I don't really care for bugs, but I like this.
Okay. Oh, at first I thought we'll put up a photo of it, but at first I thought that beetle only had 4 legs, but then I see it's got 2.
Yeah, no, it's got the other ones.
It's got 2 in the front.
So I started this on September 1st, and
Kind of tiny. I was telling her when she showed me that, I was like, "That's how much cross stitch I usually do
tiny amount done.
on all my."
I started in the center, and because I wanted to make sure that it was, I had, didn't measure wrong or something, and ended up with no room over here. So I started in the center, and I was having a lot of problems because I have the pattern in here, but I also have the pattern as a physical paper pattern. But when I printed the paper pattern, it printed in several pages. So it was kind of hard for me to track where the center was. I knew it was in the middle of this bug somewhere because he's in the middle, right? But the bug isn't exactly in the middle.
Oh, no.
So the center goes in between these things, but it doesn't go in the middle of the bug. Can you see how it's off?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, where do I start? And this is even weave. So my counting when something hasn't been started, when you've started something, it's easier. But before you put your first little stitch in, you're like, I need to count what? I need to count what?
Yeah.
To go up to where you want to start the thread, because it's not going to be exactly in the middle where you want to start it. So after I struggled with that, and I hadn't put in my drops yet, and I was like, okay, Eve, that's stupid. Get up and put your drops in. I said, I've had enough of that for today. And I decided to start on, this is by, that other one is by Cross Stitching for Fun. And I think I called it something else last week, but it's Cross Stitching for Fun.
That's cute.
These are by Twin Peak Primitives. It's called Black Halloween Series. And I'm starting on this one, which I can't remember the name of that specific pattern. It's like The Lesson or something like that. Anyway, I started on that.
The one with the witch and the cat.
Yeah. And I'm going to be working on that today. This is how far I've gotten. Not a lot more than I did the
That's
bug.
gonna look cool on that color.
Yeah, one of our viewers, because I had dyed a fabric and I had wanted to use it for honeybee, but it came out orange like this and very mottled, and I was like, I don't think that'll work. And she said, if you have a one color piece, that would probably look good. And but I went ahead and dyed 3 separate new pieces because none of the patterns were the size that I needed. So this is what I'm going to be working on.
That's cool.
And then I don't know if any of you are following me on Instagram or Facebook, but I wanted to thank you all. This is Tiny Modernist, When Witches Go Riding. I asked for opinions on a mistake that I had made on the word black right here, because it's too high and it's too short, and so there's
It's in the wrong place.
yeah, everything's wrong with it. So yeah, it's 1 stitch too far that way, 1 stitch too far this way, and the words are 1 stitch too short. The word is 1 stitch too short. But I knew they were one stitch too short in the middle of the A, but by that time I'd already done the B and the L and most of the A, and I was like, and I decided I could live with it being just one stitch too short. I didn't care. But then when I got here, I realized all the other issues. And so I finally decided, thank you all for all of your wonderful suggestions, I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of it as is. I'm going to put the cat, this second word, the same as this one, same wrong placement, same everything. But I'm going to put everything else where it goes. I started on the eyeball here, but you can't see it because I can't see it, and I'm up close. I'm just going to finish. I'm going to work on finishing it, and if when I finish the whole thing, if it is still bothering me, I can put in a little row of X's. I can take out the whole words and put them in again. That's the nice thing about this stuff is that, it's not permanent.
Yeah.
And so
you'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out later. A lot of people suggested, shortening the cat, and and I'm like, I like the cat the way it is, and it's the only thing there in the right spot.
Well, it's a good reference point for the rest of it. Or yeah, you could put some little filigree in between.
Yeah, I can put a row of stitches. I can, purple is not used a lot in this. I could put a little purple line. I could put little scroll work, all kinds of stuff. I had a lot of great suggestions, and I just really want to thank you guys for chiming in. Yeah, for chiming in and giving me some ideas, so that I'm not going. So anyway, that's me except for story time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go next. The only thing I'm working on is Snark-o-meter.
Oh yeah, I was working on that.
Oh yeah, she's also doing it.
But I'm
just very far behind.
I just started the second one.
I took this to Boston with me. I am 4 rows shy of the end of clue 2, and clue 4 just came out this morning. So
yeah,
I am very far behind because I would get in Boston. I would sit down to knit, and I'd be like, and I'm doing one of those. Well, I stick the needle into the stitch and just sit there.
Well, I'm 4 rows into clue 2. So,
so here's my oh, it's all bunched up. Here's my clue 1 and 2. I'll put a picture because by the time I'm done with this video, I'll be finished with it. But this lace, I know how to do lace. I don't have any problem with lace, but for some reason this last, you know what? Also, so remember I told you about the mistake that I made. So this, I don't know if you can see, this area is supposed to be all together, but I misread the pattern down here and started again at row 1. Where is it? Right here. I started again at row 1, so there's an extra 2 rows in between these 2 blue sections.
So you did it.
So when I got up here, I put an extra row.
I thought it looks great.
So it's different from the intentional, but it's symmetrical, and I did put in the intentional mistakes. The other intentional. This is an unintentional mistake that I made look symmetrical, and then I put in the intentional mistakes. I think I did 6 of them total. So
I need to tell you what happened. Yesterday she called me because when Beth left her house, she took her car keys.
Yeah, she kept my house and car keys. So I was ready to go get eggs yesterday morning, and I'm like,
so
I ain't got no car keys.
I was knitting when you called.
Oh,
and I was in the middle of a row, and you just push it down the needle and go, right? So when I got back,
oh no,
I started going the wrong way.
Oh,
and I was like, what is wrong? And I got all the way to the end, and I was like, why is this weird? And then I was like, oh my God. I had to do it all and go.
You had to tink it. Knitting backwards.
Yeah.
Tink, 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 tink. Yep. So this is all I'm working on today. I don't know if you noticed, I found a miracle. So my hands, I suffer with very dry hands. And this is Sally Hansen Cuticle Massage Cream. That's what I was doing while she was talking. I was putting this on. I love this. It's like a paste almost. and right now
What do?
you just get some on your finger and rub it on your cuticle. It's a cuticle massage, so you massage your cuticle. Yeah.
So I did my nails today, so I put cuticle oil on them.
Well, anyway, so
Yeah. So theoretically, they're not dry.
but so me, that's all I'm doing. I am, like I said, 4 rows away from clue 2. I expect finished with clue 2. I expect I shall finish it before we're done with this podcast, except right now I have my needle there. Okay, my needle was coming unscrewed and my yarn was stuck in it. So that's all I've been doing besides going to Boston and moving my daughter. I'm going to talk a little bit, though, about our Pillowcase Project. We have had fantastic response.
Thank you all
we are
so much.
so grateful. We have, I want to say, 3, 4, 5, like over $500 and several yards of fabric sent in. And so we are going to be able to exceed already our expectations. And if you would like to join in, please look. We will have our the video linked in the description box below to our 411 project video. And you can take a look at that if you have not seen it already. It's a special project we're doing to honor our mom and making pillowcases for a children's home in New Mexico that my mother loved. I wanted to say a little extra about it. So one of the really neat things about this children's home is that the kids live in a family-like structure. In each house where they live, there's house parents, and those parents, I think they all have kids also with them, that they're their own children. So it's a very home-like setting. And those people just live there and devote their lives to caring for these kids, which is really neat. We are including their children in the Pillowcase Project, so they will get to pick their own as well. So that's I think that's really a neat, it's not sort of so institutional, and they have, they're in a home, and it's a large home, there's several children, but it feels
and
like
there's nothing wrong
family.
with traditional.
No, of course not.
With traditional foster care.
Yeah.
My son was in traditional foster care,
Yeah.
and and certainly those people, should be equally applauded for the work they do. But this home, these children are sent here for other reasons.
Yeah, for all kinds of reasons. And but so it's something unique about them, and
if
one
you're
of the
interested in
things
them, go to
that
their website.
Yeah, we'll have in the 411 Project video, we link to their website where you can learn more about them. But I think that's a really neat thing that they have there. That's a really a blessing to those kids. So here's 2 of the cards we received. Thank you so much. Look how pretty, with really nice sentiments. We thank you so much. We're very excited. We were like, we better get started cutting and everything,
Pairing fabrics
on those on what we have already, and
shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the money that's been sent is so nice because it'll also help us buy thread and
rotary cutter blades. I went to cut something with my rotary cutter, and I keep an extra one all the time, but I came out.
I know.
It's like, okay, time to change
I get the dotted line. But yeah, so that'll help us, in so many ways. And so we're really excited. I just wanted to put that little plug in. So check out that video. We'll have it linked also here. It's called the 411 Project, and completely explains it.
Before I forget, by the time you read this, it'll be see this. But we are running a 3-day sale, 20% off of needle minders, scissor fobs, or patterns. It ends at the end of the day
on our Etsy shop.
On our Etsy shop. So it ends at the end of the day on Monday. So
Labor Day, yeah.
Yeah. So
so check it out. And this video usually comes out early Sunday morning, so I think you'll have plenty of time. I just realized I didn't get the lime green memo.
This isn't lime green; it's
Or
yellow.
Yellowish, greenish.
Spring colors.
And I have to say, I looked at this shirt and I was like, almost every garment I own has paint on it. Because when I was working, I never wore anything that was, precious or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, and
But I mean, look at you in the camera.
they painted me all
You
the
look
time.
green. You both look green.
I was
Anyway.
like, is this painting going to show? I don't know.
And then I'm looking at your nails because I did these nails for Boston because I sort of bought myself a new wardrobe. So not really a wardrobe, but I bought myself a lot of clothes recently because I've lost a little bit of weight and I'm like, I need to look like a grown up. and pandemic, I was
Not
in the
me.
pandemic mode of just like shorts and t-shirts. So I took the opportunity, if I can go on a trip, and I got myself some clothes, but most of them are sort of earthy tones. And I have some blue nails that I thought about taking, but then this is a really cool, I think Rachel said his last year's Halloween is purple, but in light it shows green and other colors, and I thought it would kind of go with everything I was wearing, and it did, and I was very happy about it. And I was like, I'm probably going to change my nails soon, although they're still in really great shape, surprisingly, after moving. But I'm looking over there, and that's the one I was going to put on. Is that long time no see? Yes.
Probably.
Well, I can't
So,
match
I
your
don't- I don't-
nails, so
I don't
now I
look at
have
the
to
names.
wait.
Well, the ones I had on last week, I think I've had them on 2 weeks, and they still look great, except my nails have grown out so
Yeah.
much. You can see,
Let me
little
see that.
stripes
Yeah,
on my
that's
nail.
the one I was going to, that's like one of my favorites. That's the one I was going to put on
And
next. So I
I
have
bought
to
a whole
pick
bunch of
some.
new ones, and
Yes.
I bought this, it's like a gold with like black lace on top. I was like, I was going to put that on, and I said, no,
I always try to
I
plan.
better wait.
Like
I better wait until after, because if we're barbecue on Monday, I'll trash my nails. So,
I thought I was going to trash these moving. No, I just trashed the rest of me. But anyway, so that's me. That's me boring. I'm just knitting. But I do have some things coming up. Okay. So one of the things is after I finish this knitting in September, or whenever this is supposed to be over.
I don't know.
It's 6 weeks long, and they just got clue 4. So yeah, I was going to make that gnome quilt. I'm also working on Rachel's shawl, but I was going to make that gnome quilt that I bought all that fabric for Christmas, right? It's a Christmas quilt. But when we were in Boston, so Hannah moved from a studio into a 3-bedroom apartment with 2 friends, and she got the biggest bedroom. I'm so glad she did. It's huge, and the other 2 are really small. So one of her friends had a full bed in his apartment, and Hannah had a twin. So they decided before we got there that they were going to switch, because Hannah had the big room, and she was happy. She's like, sure, and they're both happy. Whatever. So now she has a full size bed and all of it, and I'm like, you have to get bedding too. And she's like, oh yeah, like, your sheets aren't going to fit. So we got her some bedding, blah blah blah. And so she's got a nice duvet and a duvet cover from IKEA, but it's just like made to the edges of the bed. And so last night I texted her and I was like, at first I told my husband, I said, I'm going to make her a quilt. First, while we were there, I was so enamored of her 2 roommates, and of course her best friend also that lives in another apartment. Like, we had them over. Anyway, that's a story. I'll tell you in a minute. But I was so enamored with them, I told my husband, I feel like making them all quilts. And then by the time I got to Phoenix, I'm like, that's insane. I cannot make 3 quilts at once. Although, I might. But anyway, but so I'm like, no, I'm just going to make Hannah one. And I told my husband, I'm just going to make it for her. Because if I suggest it, she'll probably say, no, it's okay. She doesn't want, extra effort, for anybody to go to extra effort for her. But I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, I want to make her something that she wants, So I messaged her last night, and I said, would you allow me to make you a large quilt for your new large bed? And she's like, that'd be nice. So I started sending her patterns. Which ones do you like? And she picked one. She picked the Hunter Star, which is one of my favorites. And then...
What'd you do?
Made a mistake?
I just left off this stitch on this row.
Oh. And then, so I was like, okay. So then I started looking on Missouri Star because they're having a sale right now at pre-cuts, which in that pattern you need 10-inch squares, layer cakes. So I started sending her the ones that were available. There's one that isn't available yet. It's sold out, and they expect more to come in that is absolutely gorgeous. But we looked at some others, and there was one flannel set. And I was like, flannel would be nice. It'd be really warm and cozy, and she's like, I like that. So I sent her some samples, colors, and she picked one. And then I sent her some options for the border fabric, and she picked one. So we were back and forth. I'm sending screenshots, and so we settled. And last night I purchased the layer cake of colors. It's all it's called Desert Sunset. It's a woolly flannel, like Prisma dyed fabric. It looks beautiful. It's got greens and browns and reds, just as her favorite colors.
I saw
and
that
then
pre-cuts, the one that you have all cut for my quilted.
and the chocolate one. And then I got the contrast fabric. We're gonna do an off-white, and so I got all that, and I ordered enough for the border and the binding and the contrast fabric and the 2 sets of layer cakes, and ordered it all last night. So now I have another project. But you know what? So what I'll have to do, this is what I wind up doing. I'm like, you know, I get a quilting manic episode. It's what happens to me, and I just do it all. I have it all set up. And what's nice now is that since I have Hannah's room and I can shut the door, I can have it all out, and I can just zoo, and then lay it out and zoo.
You made that last one for that charity. You made it really fast.
Yeah, the Crazy Eights one. That was having to put it away every day. So I won't have to do that. So I think I can do it. And then I just saw this really great. Actually, okay. So then the other thing that I want to do, and I want to do it quickly, is a good friend of mine has been battling esophageal cancer for about a year now, and he just found out that it's moved to his brain. And I was hoping before we had this news to see him and his family while we were there, but he was going through all kinds of treatments and everything. And I called him. He sounds really bad. He is not in good shape, and he sounds very weak and actually kind of disoriented. And for him, he's such a smart guy. It must be driving him crazy because he was having trouble remembering things. And so I want to make him something right now. So I had been debating, I thought about maybe trying to knit or crochet like a lap blanket or something. But I saw today a lady make a quilt. She said, we're going to make a quilt in 3 hours minus the binding, right? And she did it with 9 fat quarters. She sewed them together like a 9 patch and then cut them and did a disappearing 9 patch. Wow. And so it was just basically like a lap-sized blanket. I thought I could do that. Oh, and send him his own little lap blanket,
I forgot that I finished this quilt.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the borders.
So I want to...
And this one is fat quarters, and she says that you can do it in a day. I just didn't because,
Yeah.
I can't concentrate on it.
Yeah, but so I thought, well, I could make him a lap blanket like that. I could, and put some, like a flannel on the back.
Yeah.
So that it's really warm. And so I may do that maybe, because the nice thing about this knitting pattern is that we're also getting a week off because Casapinka is moving her daughter across the country to go to college. So I'm going to have a couple extra weeks to get caught up on this, but I really want to make him something right now. And I thought if I try to crochet or knit a blanket, it's going to take me too long, and I'll be too stressed, and my hands will wear out. But I thought when I saw that today, I thought that's it. I'm gonna get fat quarters, and do it's just a big disappearing 9 patch. So it's basically because fat quarters are long, it's like an oblong shape. It's not a square. but you make it like you would a square, just big. And I thought that would be nice, and I could just make it and get it sent off as soon as possible. Just, you know, well, the Pillowcase Project, and all the things, your pattern, I process with my hands, and so I feel really awful about his situation and want to do something. So I think maybe I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll start that this week.
I was gonna say you made the quilt you made for me.
I made your quilt in a couple of
days.
weeks.
Yeah,
a couple of days. Yeah, it took me maybe about a week. Yeah. But if I could, you know, and like I said, what's nice about having my big giant box in Hannah's room is I can put up the side tables. I can have my sewing machine out. I can have all the fabric out and get her done. But yeah, so that's me. I'm done. What are you working on?
I am right now. Today, I'm working on Monster Wonder Whale. One of my Al Forst embroidery projects. Hold on.
She forgot the book, the box.
Yeah,
so
I don't have
take a picture.
I don't have with me the box that has the picture on it.
We'll take a picture.
But we'll put it up right here.
Yeah, but so right now. So
that's one of your September showstoppers.
This is one of, yeah. So I'm also doing the September showstopper project, but what I'm doing, because I couldn't decide, as is my wont, couldn't decide between two charts, this Al Forst Monster Wonder Whale and Kathy Barrick and Heaven and Nature Sing. So I decided to do both. So I'm calling it Super Showstopper Sal. And now I know there's one or two people that are joining in with me, and if anybody else, you know, wants to join in, you don't have to work on these two projects. You can work on, you know, any other project and the Showstopper. If you're doing it for the cross stitch camp, you know.
Yeah, she didn't give us another hashtag, so I was like,
yeah. So some
is
people,
it still summer camp?
Yeah. So anyway, but so this
it's
is
hot
where
enough in Arizona to be summer camp.
This is,
yeah, it's hot today.
This is where I am so far on Monster Wonder Whale. I started. This is like the center of the pattern. It, you know, this tail and everything goes on up here, but so this little edge here is the center, more or less, of the pattern, and then so I
can't show it on camera, but it's a really beautifully done pattern.
Yeah,
that's nice and big, and
yeah,
that's really neat. Sorry.
And also there's another part of another page of this. I think the pattern is. I mean, they sent. I want to say 4 pages. So this page and the second page are the actual pattern, and then on the third and fourth pages are like you could there all of these little areas that have like these little individual motifs. Mm-hmm. They have them like
bigger.
Yeah, bigger and like little squares that you could cut out and like, you know, attach it to your fabric while you stitch that pattern, so that you have the individual motif instead of having this big, you know, sheet. So, you know, if you wanted to do that, you could. But I'm, you know, doesn't bother me. So,
that's nice.
But yeah, so he has this little fringe things for his mouth, and then there's this. He has a couple of these little, I don't know if you call them Quaker patterns, whatever, all along in different colors, all along the whale's back, kind of. So there's one of them that, since I was just working with this one color, and you know, it was on the outline of the whale, and then there's, like I said, these patterns like this throughout it. So, and so I was doing this while I was house sitting for Naomi, her pet sitting for her dog and her 2 cats, and I had the thread like this on the table beside me where I was working, and I got up to feed the cats. And I left the thread sitting here because I just like, oh, it's getting late. I've got to go feed the cats, and then so I fed the cats, and I decided I better go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and I heard them out there fussling around. And so I thought, I better, hurry up and get out of here. And I came out of the bathroom, and I went to sit down, and my thread was gone. And I couldn't find it. I was like, oh no! And I looked down, and it was on the floor beside where I had been sitting, was the main skein of thread, and this, like, little packet thing was on the floor. And I had a loose thread like this.
Oh, like that?
Yeah.
That big?
Yes, like this, exactly like this.
Oh,
because
like that.
I pulled 2 threads off of it. This is the whole, the length.
Oh.
But I had pulled 2 threads off of it to stitch with, and this was gone. That's what was gone. So yeah,
Still hasn't been found.
yeah. And I searched the house, like I told Naomi. I searched that house from stem to stern. I looked on the floor everywhere. And I looked along all the baseboards. I looked under the edges of the door to see if they had batted under the door.
Of the bookcase.
And I looked on top of the cat trees. I looked.
And neither cat is sick yet.
Yeah,
They
so-
have not shown any symptoms of having eaten
So I don't
anything
know
bad,
if
so.
one of the cats ate the thread, if one of the cats carried the thread off under the furniture somewhere, under the bed, if they batted it around and it went under the furniture. I don't know. I don't know, but I haven't seen it. I couldn't find it.
That's so strange.
And I felt awful.
Yeah, I got panic texts.
Yeah.
But so far everybody's okay.
Yeah.
So.
So that was.
Who knows? Maybe Coulter ate it.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is it on the dog somewhere? but yeah. So this is Monster Wonder Whale. I'm working on his little fringes right here in his mouth, I guess, right now. But I also worked on, so on the first, I guess, was when I was working on both of them. I worked on having Nature Sing in the morning, I guess, and I worked on Monster Wonder Whale that evening. So this is the Kathy Barrick design, and it doesn't look like a whole lot.
I said, you made lines. You made lines in that one, and you made lines in this one.
So this is the deer's
This is so pretty.
tail.
Oh, it's his tail?
Yeah, the top of his tail.
Oh, I see. And his leg.
Yeah, and then so I started in the middle, and this is like in the middle of his back up here, and I went along his back here, and I did the tail, and then as I was coming back, this is all in DMC. It's the call for
pretty.
it's done in the model is done in silks, but I didn't do silks. It has a DMC conversion that I used here. So I went, I was out and back like I do, and so I had started here in the center. So I went out and did the tail and came back, and instead of going and doing the next line, I came down and went this way. So this is the front. The back of his back leg. Yeah. Yes, because inside it, in here, is another color, a lighter color, I guess, that goes in here on the inside of his leg. But so then
cute.
I had to work my way back up, and I thought, boy, I hope there aren't any errors in there because it's a long way.
road.
Yeah. But so it doesn't look like a whole lot, but it's the outline of the deer. And so that was on the first that I started the deer, and today's the 4th. So I guess I worked on it, on the 1st and on the 3rd. And I worked on this on the 1st and today.
Not on the 2nd.
I don't know what I did on the 2nd. Yeah, on the 2nd.
You said you were going to do every other day, so I think you started that one on the 2nd.
Well, I started them both on the 1st.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
And then on the 2nd.
On the 2nd, you lost your thread? No, on the 2nd was when I came home.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you did all day.
I don't know. I spent on both of them.
She's already lost track. It's all for nothing.
Yeah. But before the 1st, I worked on Midnight Meow.
Did you finish it?
No.
Oh.
No. But I did finish the 3rd, this cat over here. And I did one row of the fence. I tried the fence as you know, because I had to substitute the threads, and I just picked whatever that I thought would work. And the fence is supposed to be a darker gray, and then this lighter gray. And I tried with the dark gray, and you really couldn't see it. It was really hard to see. And so I went one shade lighter, and I did this one line of the fence here, and it'll be a lighter color here. But so the darkest color I used, I don't know if you can't see it, I don't think, from where I'm sitting with the camera. This dark, I did all this dark thread as called for in the pattern, and then this red of his little bow tie of his collar.
Oh, that little dark kitty. Oh,
Yeah.
he's very dark.
Yeah, it's very dark. But
Colors
the
are
other
supposed
colors
to be.
are lighter, are the lighter grays. So my needle minders are stuck together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. He's gray striped tabby.
Yeah.
And there's Hobbs sitting next to him. Oh, that's Calvin and that's Hobbs.
Yeah.
How funny.
But so I worked on, and you know, one of my viewers, I have, you know, since I put these my super showstopper Sal projects on, I've talked about them on my channel, but I've also was working on, you know, this Midnight Meow before the first, and so one of my viewers, Jessie Lee TV is her Flosstube channel. But she's also hosting a Sal for September called that goes, I think it's Sal All the Kitties. So any pattern with a cat in it.
Mm.
So I think I'm gonna keep working on this as part of that Sal.
Cute.
And then for October, embroidery.com is doing the witchy stitchy thing that they did. They have done it in previous Octobers, so I've signed up to do that, and so is Eve. And
You get a cute little needle minder.
yeah,
I think I have mine actually. No, that's yours.
yeah, I don't know where mine
No.
is. Yeah, mine's sitting on my.
It's a really strong needle miter.
Yeah.
You know what? I have it on. I have it on a Halloween project that I worked on last year.
Yeah. Anyway, so so I'm going to see what all the requirements are for that eventually, but I'm also going to be doing that come October. But in the meantime, I've got enough going on, you know, here. These are stuck together again.
So
My
before we start
needle minders.
stories,
Okay.
I want to show my quilt top without
yeah.
the things.
Here, pass it. We'll spread it out.
It's a lot. Ooh, I'm stepping on something.
I haven't gotten this yet.
Oh dear. My dollar store project bag is disintegrating. This is the top on your side.
Okay. I taught you well.
I think the 9.
I told her to put pin numbers on so she can tell which way she wants to have it up and down.
It's big. You have to stand up.
But okay, because I can't. Because I'm stuck to the chair.
'Cause
Ow! Ow! Welcome to Phoenix. Ouch.
So, so it goes on. That's the
Nice.
bottom. It's not really wide
Oh,
enough for my
dragonflies.
bed, but once we stick the borders on,
Creeps.
it should be.
Olives. Limes.
Oh, we were just gonna cover you.
You can just toss it back there.
Okay, that's nice.
This is
great.
the border fabric that I have for it. I think it'll look really cute with that.
Very nice.
Yeah. But I have to get it done because I think my dog keeps eating my comforter.
How is your dog? She eating again?
Yeah, she started eating again.
I talked about these in a haul on my update last week from Naomi's house, but I found the
It's so
gnome.
cute.
Um,
Where did you get that gnome?
I was at Hobby Lobby.
It's so cute. Can I see it?
Yeah. I was gonna tell you, you have to help me pick some beads, whatever, to make him into a.
For me?
Yeah.
He's so
A scissor fob or a keychain or something to hang from your mirror or whatever. You
And
know.
my
they don't
gosh,
let
that's
you
so
hang
cute.
stuff from your mirror.
Yeah, no, you're not supposed to hang anything.
I hang everything in my mirror. Oh, that's so
You find some
cute.
place to hang it.
Well, this is really easy to make too. Look at that. It's a little circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little circle for the back and 4 pom-poms for his hand and
Hands and
feet,
feet,
and a
mhm.
little bit of fur and a cone hat and a pom-pom right there. We could make these.
I like that gnome quilt that's on Missouri Star Quilt Company. I'm like, I could do every part of that, but that nose.
Too little.
It's like you can't even hold it. It's so small.
It's so
No,
cute.
thank you. I need a larger nose.
Put it right there. It's cute.
So as we move into stories, look what she brought me back. What she brought back for me. It's
I got that for Eve because she took me to the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning. And anybody who takes you to the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning deserves a toy.
and then and the one she got me a couple years
And she
ago.
picked us up at 8 o'clock on the busiest Thursday at the airport I've ever seen.
It was
When we
worse than
came
Christmas.
home.
It
I'm
was
like,
worse than
I we were
Christmas.
standing out at the curb and I'm like, is it Christmas? To Mark. I'm like,
So she
"This is
gave
so
me one from Boston
years
when they
ago."
took Hannah to school.
Some other day, yeah.
And so it's gotten they get gross, and I keep trying to clean it. But look what was inside this one. He's so cute.
It's a lobster.
It's a lobster lollipop.
Okay. they had lighthouses. Like not a good shape. I was like,
This is a family show.
Nobody- Nobody thought it through.
Nobody thought that through. But I like those lobsters, so they're cute.
Yeah. So what did you get from
So I
Boston?
got a tote bag. It's a map tote is what the label says.
And that's to pay you for feeding my kitties and feeding my dog 1,000 pills every day.
So it says
giving your cats
Boston,
thread.
and there's just all kinds of Boston landmarks
Yeah.
on there.
I think Hyde Park is on there, Hannah said. Mission Hill. Oh, JP, that's where Hannah's living, right there. Mission Hill. Yeah.
And these little boats and
And there's the Prue.
what is that? Spectacle Island.
There's the Prue, Back Bay. That's where her school is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. all
And that's
kinds
from a
of-
bookstore called Trident, which is a really cool, fun place to go.
And inside, there's a little pocket in here, and
So I thought she always needs a
there's a
stitching.
little duck.
That's from the duck boat
She
tour
loves
we went
ducks.
on. And I
She has a
saw
whole
it was
bunch from
so
when she lived in
cute.
Arkansas.
And a little
Little Boston.
little bag that says Boston. And a lobster.
A lobster.
A lobster
lollipop.
pop. So yeah.
So thank you for watching my kitties.
Mm.
My doggo. Oh, we were so worried about Quilter. She is 12,
Yeah.
and she's struggling, and has 1,000 pills. And we were like, should we board her? But the thought of boarding her was too scary.
Yeah. It's and you never know. Just
I know, and
because they
then-
have a million animals to look after.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
and they may give her
yeah.
medication, as prescribed, but they
Yeah, and then I thought, she's so old. I just thought of, I had this thought because I thought, well, if she was so sickly, I thought, well, if she was at the vet's and something bad happened, they could take care of her. That's why I literally thought about boarding her. But then I had this vision because she's never. The only time she's ever away from us is when we would take her to the groomers. And she's never been away from us because when she was young, she would travel with us as a service dog, my son's service dog. So she's never really been away from all of us, so I was really stressing, and I thought about boarding her, because it would be at our vet where she would be boarded. And so I thought, well, they could take care of her if she got really sick. But then I thought, well, what'd she think if we left her there, like, for days?
And an older dog usually doesn't do well.
Yeah, and I thought, no, what if she just would get... So it was really the best solution.
Well, I was gonna say it's not like they're really there 24 hours a day.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we boarded the cats there that time, and that was okay because they were young and they had each other, And I was like, if I could board all three of them and let the cats sleep with the dog, that might be good for her, but they wouldn't do that. So anyway, so it worked out perfectly, and I was so grateful. So that worked out. So, my trip to Boston.
Wait. You have very long stories, and my story is very short.
Okay, your story is very short.
Beth was staying over there, and I was making dinner, and I told her, come eat dinner with us. So I went and got her, and it was kind of late, it's dark. And as I'm heading to the main road down it's not a main road, but
it's like a main access road.
Busy,
but it's a busy road for a neighborhood.
It goes by some
one of
businesses.
It's one of those little arteries.
Yeah,
it takes you in and out.
Yeah. So I'm heading down there, and I should preface this by saying that when I was married, our only vehicle was a motorcycle. So I know a little bit about motorcycles. I can't drive one because I'm so short. I can't hold it up. Once I put my foot down, the bike is too heavy and I can't hold it up. So I've been learning how to drive one, and I just decided that wasn't a good idea for me. So I'm seeing this person, and he comes out. At first he's going the same direction, but in front of us, like this. And he goes to the far side of the curve, going down the wrong way on the road, on the opposite side of the road, and around where an apartment complex is.
Okay.
And very slowly and wobbly makes a U-turn. Why he didn't make a U-turn from the way he was to go back the right way, I don't know.
So
but what I knew was that all of a sudden a motorcycle is heading toward me.
Yeah, he was kind of on the side, because I remember his headlight was like right in my eyes.
He was off toward the side.
Yeah.
And so I did what any prudent driver would be, to make him realize that there was a car coming right at him. And I was going like 25, 30 miles an hour. I wasn't speeding, but I didn't know what this guy's going to do. Is he going to wobble his way back the other side? So if I went around him, would I end up hitting him? So I honked at him. The guy drops his bike. Now, I don't think that was intentional.
He was over by the curb,
because
the sidewalk.
Then he's screaming at me and cursing at me, saying all kinds of nasty things. I'm like, dude, you're the one that's going the wrong way.
It's like, how dare you make me feel my embarrassment
and drop my bike. And when you drop a bike,
that's not good.
You can do a lot of damage just by, if it's standing upright and it falls over. Yeah. we had a motorcycle. My ex-husband, he had a motorcycle accident. Thank God he was alone, because if he hadn't been alone, I would have been killed. A car pulled out in front of him, and he knew he was going to hit the car, so he let go of the bike, and he flew over the car when the bike hit the car, and it bent the fork on his bike. This woman had no insurance, so she agreed to buy him a new bike, and he chose a lesser one.
Yeah.
$700. That was a long time ago. And because he said, I think I might be able to fix the fork on the bike. And I'm like, well, whatever. So we had insurance, so, so he was going to show up to the motorcycle place, and we were there all the time. The lady got there before him, and she was so mad that she was going to have to pay $700 for this bike. And And he's just sitting there listening to her rant, and he wasn't even wearing a helmet and blah, blah. In New Mexico at that time, you didn't have to. We had one, he just wasn't wearing it. And he said, "Lady, I could just push my foot and knock over one of these bikes here and do more than $700 damage. I would shut up if I were you." You know, so I know that if you drop that bike and realize that he could have damaged it and it didn't belong to him, and I suspect it didn't because he did not know how to ride that bike.
Yeah. I hope it wasn't a test drive.
Well, it wouldn't have been a test drive from there, but
No,
you
I
know,
know,
he might
I'm
have been
just
test
joking.
driving one to buy from somebody who
There's a
lived in the neighborhood.
motorcycle place right across Chandler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe-
Or just down the. It's just down there.
You mean Harley Davidson?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty far away for doing.
No,
for
no,
driving.
right across from right where you make the turn into her neighborhood. There's a motorcycle place.
Not Harley
It's
Davidson.
not the Harley Davidson
Oh.
place.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Next to
Yeah,
Wanda's.
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
Anyway, you know, I was just like, dude. And,
Yeah,
and then
I'm
and
sorry
then
for
all
my neighbor. I don't know who that
all I
is.
could do was laugh. But you know, if he doesn't not know how to ride a bike, A, the dark isn't the place to learn, and B, you need to stay on the correct side of the road, and C, do it in an area where other traffic is not going to be coming by.
Yeah, he was really wobbling.
Yeah, he
around
was
and
like I
just-
said.
Do you think he
just
was
like-
drunk or just didn't know how
No.
to
No,
control
I think
the
he
bike?
just didn't know how to control the bike very
You
well.
know, people think it's like riding a bicycle,
and
and in some respects it is, but
he was
it's
going-
a lot heavier.
he was going slow. He wasn't really speeding or
I
anything.
think he was going
but
too
he
slow
just-
to keep the bike
Yeah, I was
upright.
gonna
Yeah,
say,
he
maybe
was
he was
just
going too slow.
he was just wobbling around and then like going very unpredictably from one side of the road to the other, and you're just kind of going around like he was on some little side street
Yeah.
or something. You know, if he was over, you know, those
Maybe it
streets
was the
beside
same person who a couple of 4th of Julys ago thought that was a perfectly great place to shoot off fireworks on Roosevelt,
Yeah.
in my neighborhood where people had to drive. I'm like, this is not where you sit and do fireworks.
No.
You go in your backyard, maybe a cul-de-sac, maybe,
Yeah.
but
Or
this is
if
I was
a
gonna say,
thoroughfare.
all those little side streets that feed onto Roosevelt, you know, they're residential. And
Yeah.
if you wanted to ride the motorcycle around in there, it's very quiet residential streets that there's no traffic. But there where we were on Roosevelt, it's a wide thoroughfare because of the businesses that are on there. Now there wasn't much traffic there, you know, at that time of night or
Yeah,
whatever. But even so,
That's
it's
just
a main
inconsiderate and stupid.
feeder.
Yeah.
You know, and
So,
you go
and I even wanted to warn you guys because I'm like, there's a guy who doesn't know how to ride a motorcycle in your neighborhood. And
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
people who know a little are
Okay.
very dangerous.
Well, let's talk about driving.
Yeah, she did some driving.
I earned a badge. I'm very proud of my badge. See it right here? This says I drove in Boston. It was a hard one.
Like Tim said, I'm from out of town and I just don't
Well,
care.
yeah, okay, but here's the funny part. So I had to rent a U-Haul, and the license plate was from Arizona. Really funny. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Flew to Boston. It was okay flight, except the second plane we were on was the older one where you're like this. And Mark and Eli, I was in the middle, and Mark and Eli somehow were both leaning toward me. I'm like, if we didn't know each other, this would not work. I'm like, "Ugh." So anyway, they're like, I can't help it. You can. Sit that way. Why are you sitting in toward me? So on the way back, on the way home, I'm like, Mark, you're in the middle. Anyway, but the flights were okay, and Boston had very nice weather those first couple of days, and we were staying in a condo. I said that a friend of ours lent us. It's gorgeous, absolutely drop dead gorgeous. This place, except for the stairs. I'm not used to stairs, and they had on the first floor it was beautiful. On the first floor is in the brownstones, and on the first floor was the dining, kitchen, living room area, and then you go downstairs and there were 2 bedrooms, and it had a terrace in the back and a little patio, and it was it was so beautiful. And so we saw Hannah, and that night she made us dinner in her little studio. We sat around her little coffee table like a bunch of college kids, and she made us
Hannah's a great cook.
beautiful salmon and pesto pasta. It was so good. It was so delicious. But so, Boston is 3 hours difference. So we ate there, dinner time, and then we walked over to the Prudential Center, and we went to Italy. This place is really cool. It's an Italian superstore, basically, and they have restaurants inside, and you can get all kinds of, like, I walk through there, and I want to buy literally everything I see. And you can get everything from, like, imported crackers and cookies and pastas and handmade pastas and everything, to actually, like, meats and giant wheels of Parmesan and, anything you can think of from Italy. And, of course, there's dessert counters with cannolis and tiramisu and all these incredible things. And there's a gelato thing. And, so we met one of her friends there, and we had dessert. It was real nice. And then we went back, and we were settling in, and it was about midnight over there. And all of us looked at each other and were like, I'm starving. Not because Hannah's dinner was insufficient, but it was lunch. Because we had eaten, we left at 3 a.m. in Arizona. When we landed in Chicago, we ate breakfast, literally breakfast. And then we went to Boston, and we had what was to Hannah dinner, but was to us lunch. And at midnight, we're like, oh my God, I'm starving. So we had pizza brought in. It was so good. So that was our first day. Second day, I don't know what we did. Oh, we went to the duck boats. We took a duck boats tour. Eli had never been. Actually, Mark had never been. And that's an amphibious vehicle. So it drives you around Boston, and the tour guide's always really funny, like the Disneyland, Jungle Cruise guy. But knows the history and tells all the jokes. And then it goes to a point at the Charles River, and it goes into the river and becomes a boat and goes up and down the river.
They're like World War II era vehicles.
Yeah. And so it was a lot of fun and funny, And I got some good pictures of the skyline of Boston doing that, and Eli had a lot of fun. But we were okay. I'm sure many of you live in a walking city somewhere in the country, but we do not. And nobody, like my brother says, nobody walks in LA. Nobody walks in Arizona either. And I mean, I should be in better shape. Okay.
Some people walk in Arizona.
I know, and I even said to both my husband and my son, I'm like, we're going to Boston. We need to start walking every single day. At least we have a treadmill in our house. We should get in shape before we go. Well, none of us listened, including myself. So, and walking, you just have to walk in Boston. There's just no way around it. I mean, there is. It's called Uber. But we were so tired and so spent. Well, then comes Eli's birthday on the 30th, and in the morning we went over to Hannah's to help her start packing. It's a novel concept to pack before you move, and this will come into play. So, Hannah, being a normal person, decided to pack early, like normal people. And we encountered some people that were not normal later. So anyway, so we went over in the morning. Happy birthday, Eli. Get to work. We packed her, I did her kitchen, and Mark did her kitchen, and we had to walk to Target. Poor Eli. Okay. He wears an ankle brace, orthotic, and the shoes that he had were too narrow. And he had picked them out himself, and of course, he's a grown person, but they just were not working, and he was in so much pain when we got on the airplane. And so usually when he buys shoes to fit the orthotic in there, we take out he's got paralysis on that leg, and we take out the insole, and it gives the brace in his foot more room in the shoe. And we do this. We've done this since he was 2. And so when we were at the airport on the way out, he's like, my foot's killing me. I said, did we ever take the insole out of that shoe? And he's like, no. So I was like, okay. So we're sitting there. Actually, it was at the Phoenix airport, and we hadn't even left yet. So we take his shoe off. I rip the insole out, as I have done every pair of shoes since he was 2. Rip the insole out, throw it away. Put the shoe on. And he's like, yeah, that feels better. We go to Chicago, we're walking through. Nope, it does not feel good. And so the shoe is just too narrow. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, son. I said, when we get to Boston, we'll get you a new pair of shoes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll go find, like, he does really well in, like, those really wide width skater shoes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, we go, you know, we fly to Boston, and the night we got there, he goes to take off his shoes, because fortunately he brought his Crocs that he kind of runs around in on a day-to-day basis. It's not good for his knee, but it feels better on his feet, right? So, he goes to pull the shoe off. He's like, Mom, I can't pull the shoe off. And then I think back, and I'm like, what do you mean you can't pull the shoe off? He's like, no, it's stuck. It's stuck in there to the brace, because the brace goes all the way under his foot. So, and I try to pull it off. Mark tries to pull it off. Hannah tries to pull it off. And he's like, you're breaking my knee because we're yanking on the shoe. And I think back to Phoenix Airport at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I remember that after I pulled that insole out of his shoe, I remember sitting there and I'm like, what is this on my nail? And I had this glue on my nail. And I realized, because most of the time when you pull an insole out of a shoe, I don't know how many of you have ever done it, not very many people do it, but it rips. Like there's this hard glue in there, and it'll rip, and the bottom layer of that insole will stay in there on the glue that is used. Well, not that one. The insole came and the glue stayed, and then I glued his AFO to his shoe.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. So we finally pulled it off.
Poor thing.
So those shoes were not wearable. So all day Sunday, because the Target is not close, and we didn't have time, and because we had a scheduled date time for the duck boat, and so we were like, well, we'll go tomorrow on your birthday. But first we had to go help Hannah because she was giving a piece of her furniture to a friend, and so we went there first. And Hannah's apartment is a little closer to Target. So, poor thing. So walking in the shoes that he brought with his brace hurt his feet, but walking without his brace altogether in his Crocs hurts his knee, his whole leg. So we walked to Target, and his whole leg was killing him. We get there, it's packed. There's nothing. All the students of all the world are there in Boston.
Yeah.
Hannah can't find anything that she went for, and I'm like, I hope they have shoes. So we're looking in the men's department because they have their shoes separated there. You know how it was our Target. All the shoes for all the men, women, children are in the same place. Well, in that Target, it's like 3 stories high, and so I figured, well, maybe the men's shoes are in the men's department. So we go there, and I can't find them. And I see an employee, and I'm like, do you guys have men's shoes? She's like, all we have is in this little rack right here. And I'm like, oh no. So we go around in this ugly boat shoes, and then I'm like, wide width Skechers in a 10 and a half. I'm like, no. Are you kidding? So we sit down. Of course, we're pouring sweat because it's so humid and so hot. Put the shoes on. He's like, Mom, these are perfect. Because I had his brace. He was wearing his Crocs. I had his brace in my backpack. Because when we were at the house, I was like, hey, those Crocs are big and roomy. I bet your brace will fit in there, and you could just wear your Crocs on your brace. Nope. So anyway, I had his brace in my backpack. So we sit down, and he puts it on, and we put the shoes on, and it's like perfect. Of course, you can't walk out with them. So we finish our shopping. We have to stand in line forever. Finish our shopping, go outside. There's a little bench right outside the door of Target, and we changed his shoes, and we walked home. He's like, I feel perfect. So that was our adventure on his birthday. And then we went to Little Italy, and we had yummy Italian food for his birthday, and it was so nice. And then we went back to the apartment, and we played some games and stuff. And then came moving day. Well, half of moving day, we thought. So, Hannah had been texting with her landlord of the new place, And the landlord, the new place was occupied by 2 people they knew from their school. So that's kind of how they found out about it last year. So they kind of knew them. They weren't buddies, but they knew them. And she'd been communicating with the landlord because they'd heard a rumor that the kids were moving out on the last day of the month at 10 o'clock in the morning. Is this true? Is that what's happening? Landlord says, yes, you should be able to move in the afternoon. We'll have cleaners come in, they'll clean it spotless, and then you can get the keys and move in. So we're like, oh, okay. So I had planned to get the U-Haul at noon on the 31st and return it at noon on the 1st. And I did this months ago. I rented this because I thought, we'll pack Hannah's apartment up on the 31st because she has to be out. She'll spend the night with us. We'll park the U-Haul somewhere. My naivete, Western thinking that in some Eastern city I'd find some parking space to put a U-Haul safely overnight that won't get busted.
It wasn't one of those huge things.
No, it's just a van.
Yeah.
It's just a van, but still, like, let's just put a sign on it that says "Break into me," and we'll park it on the street.
Steal all my
No,
things.
stupid. So I didn't. Yeah, steal everything in here, please. Or get a ticket. So. I figured I can figure it out. Maybe the new place will have parking. No. Okay. So I was like, well, this is perfect. We'll get the truck at noon. We'll put her stuff in. We'll move in the afternoon, and I'll return the truck early, and I'll be a hero. So now, one of her roommates is I consider him my dear child. I love him to death, and so I'll do anything to help him. We will, as a family. And so Hannah said, can you help him with his couch? And I was like, sure. And then she's like, could we do it first because he's got to go to work? And I was like, he's going to work on the last day of the month when he has to be out at night? And he works till 11 and he's got to be out at midnight?
That doesn't
No, that doesn't make any sense. So we went to his apartment and we moved, so we got, his big furniture, and I was like, CJ, just whatever you're going to put in the truck, whatever you need to take, let's fill it up and do it now. So then we get and he decided to call out, so that was good. Anyway, they get the message that, okay, so to go to the apartment. So we go, and it's very close to where her roommate lived. And I drive the U-Haul, so to get into his apartment to get his couch, you go in this little. I missed it the first time because it's just an alley. So the apartment building's like a U, and you come in here, and it's a skinny little lane, like literally one car width lane, and then it's wide at the end, and I'm like, how do I get out of here? And I'm sitting there while we're waiting and. We're loading, the kids are bringing the couch down, and I'm sitting here looking at this wide space, and I thought, I can turn this truck around. And I tried it once, and I failed, and I put it back. And then these movers came and parked behind me, and I'm like, how am I going to get out of here? But they were like, they went in, grabbed the kids' stuff, because it was just an apartment. They grabbed it, threw it on the truck, and they left. And they actually helped us put some stuff in our U-Haul. So I was thinking, okay, so how am I going to do this? Because they backed in. They got into the road. They stopped traffic. They backed in. I'm like, I'm scared of that. So I thought about it again. I'm like, I'm going to turn this thing around. I am going to do it. The wheelbase is short enough. I can do it. So I just went, and turned the truck around. I'm like, yes, I can do anything. So then we go to the new apartment. And as I'm driving up, Hannah's calling me. She's like, Mom, they're still there. They thought they would move out on the 1st at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, what? And she said, because the landlord was also there. She hands the phone to the landlord. He's like, I cannot believe this. These kids thought that their lease ended on the 1st. And I'm like, what? And he goes, and worse than that, they have nothing packed.
Oh,
nothing.
my God.
Zero. He opened the door. I guess one of the girls opened the door, and he said she was like deer in the headlights. Like, what? We have to be out now? And there was not a thing packed. I walked in there was not a thing packed. If you're moving out tomorrow at 10, today at 10, maybe you should have a box packed.
Yeah.
maybe you should have something clean. You know, something. 2 kids, nothing. Well, so Hannah's room, which is the bigger room, was empty. And he's like, you have every right, at least, you know, you have every right to move in today.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and so, and my daughter and her friend were like, I'm like, don't be apologetic. This is not your fault. Mm-hmm. We're just going to go in there. And so we crammed all of CJ's stuff in Hannah's room, and then we went to Hannah's apartment. And then those kids were sweet. And they were like, we're so sorry. And Hannah told me that they had said that they had asked if they could move out on the 1st at 10. And that he had said yes. I'm like, no, I don't believe that's how the conversation went. That's my personal opinion as a grown adult who has never seen a lease end on the 1st of any month in the history of anything.
And he wouldn't have been telling you, yeah, you can move in on the 31st at 10.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids were like, it's the landlord's fault. And I'm like, including my kid, I'm like, no, it's not. So I don't think so. So,
somebody
and maybe
had wax in their ears.
well, and he said, I can't babysit everybody. You know, that was his
Yeah.
thing. And I'm like, true. And it's fine. They
Yeah.
were sweet. They were so apologetic. We're like, it's okay. Just, it's fine. And,
Well, one of the things
But-
you learn as a grown-up, having moved, you know, from apartment to apartment to apartment, is that it's
Or
a
house.
dance.
yeah.
It's a dance of you need to be out by here, but you can't get in
Until here.
Yeah,
so,
you have literally hours to do it.
yeah. And so, but, you know, and it was a miracle to me because I didn't think we would be able to get in until the 1st. So that's why we had planned. I'm like, if I have to park it somewhere, maybe I'll go park. I even thought maybe if I have to park it full of stuff, I'm going to call U-Haul and say, can I park it at U-Haul overnight? You know,
Yeah.
not that U-Haul was in a great part of town because it was not, which we will find out later. So, but I was like, well, this is really a blessing, you know, because I didn't think we could. So we're gonna move in on the 31st. So we moved all of her roommate's stuff in, and he went back to finish in his apartment, and we went to Hannah's, and her best friend showed up. She was a blessing, and Hannah, fortunately, her apartment had because the new place is stairs, and then they're on the first floor, but to get to the first floor. Oh, I never want to see another staircase in my life. But anyway, and I didn't even do it all. The kids, you know, they did so much. So then Hannah's apartment has an elevator. So I'm like, okay, we're going to park in the alley. I'm so smart. We're going to park in the alley behind the building, take the elevator all the way to the basement, go out through the laundry room. There's one little bump step, and we're out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good idea. Instead of trying to park in the front and then go down in the lobby, there's stairs, and then outside there's more stairs. And then that front street is so busy with all the Northeastern kids, and it was crazy day. So we parked in the back, and of course I was in the way of all the people of her old apartment. And her apartment, thankfully, was right across the hall from the elevator. Mm-hmm. So she's in her apartment, I'm in the elevator. She's throwing things through the hallway. I'm packing the elevator. I go downstairs. I throw him out. Mark's in the basement. He's piling all her stuff in the basement right there. I go back up. We get another load. I go down. And so we had this going. And then we started packing the U-Haul. I'm a crazy packer. I like to pack everything. And then it all fits. And it didn't happen that way. And I try not to be mad about it. And then I cracked my head right here on the big latch in the back of the van. I have a big old bruise. I might have yelled at somebody. I might have cried a little.
Did I ever tell you how many people try to use Uber XLs as U-Hauls?
Oh, I'm sure.
And I had a lady over here in Ahwatukee. I picked her up, and she started piling stuff in the car, and I'm like, am I taking her? But, you know, at first I thought, am I taking her to the airport? But then it was more and more stuff. And you don't want to get rid of a ride, but and of course it fit, you know. But I'm like, what are we doing here? Because she wasn't. You could tell she wasn't the homeowner.
Yeah.
You know.
It was,
and,
but
yeah, and then we went to a place downtown.
Oh no.
And she wanted me to stop on a regular city street where there's no parking.
Yeah.
So that she could unload. I said, lady, you're going to have to get this out of my car, and I'm not going to wait here with it while you take it upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know.
that's not good thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that Eli was the champ.
So
Eli
you
was
had
the,
Snarks.
and Eli's in all 3 places was the van sitter. So he sat in the van in case anybody came, so he could call us. So he was in the van. Mark was in the basement. I was in the elevator. Hannah's in her apartment. And we were. So and then all was remained was cleaning stuff in there. And at first Hannah was like, Jordan and she were like, we can just stay here and clean. I'm like, no, we need to go to the apartment, and because and that van was packed, and we're like, we need to go and unload this so we can take the van back, because I really want to get it back tonight before they close at 7. Mm-hmm. And so, and I said, and then we can come back and clean after, because you can until midnight, and so we so that's what we did. And we went to and Jordan was so sweet. She went out with Hannah, and Mark sat in the van on the floor between the 2 seats, and we drove out there, got it all put in there, and it was pretty late, and I didn't think we were going to make it back to U-Haul, and so Eli went with me to pick it up, and I'm like, this is not a great neighborhood. If I have to bring this back at night, Mark's coming with me. So Eli and Hannah went to Hannah's apartment, and they knocked it out. They cleaned it up so great. Did such a great job. So Mark and I took the U-Haul back, and it was like 7:05. I thought I was going to have to do the night drop, but they were still open. So we turned it in because we were supposed to gas it up. So I told the guy, we didn't gas it up. Just charge me. Whatever you're going to charge me, I don't care. And but driving in the streets... Those streets are made for horses, not for cars. And not for a car parked here, a lane going this way, a lane this way, and a car parked here. But it's really only wide enough to drive down the middle. And you're like, watch the mirrors. It was crazy.
Like my trying to get by that semi yesterday in the neighborhood.
Yeah, there was a semi parked on the other street in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where they were
He was parked in the middle.
Yeah, because they were unloading
yeah.
like pallets of
bricks
pavers
and
or
stuff,
something.
yeah.
And so here's the guy with the little forklift.
That's how all of Boston
And
was.
I looked at it and went, I am not going to make it.
So we had to back up.
all the way up and went around.
Oh my gosh. So it was harrowing, and there was more than one. So the way those people deal with the traffic is they just come out of the side streets. They don't stop. They just keep coming and hope that someone will stop so they can get in traffic. And one guy almost hit us. And so it was crazy. And we got to the U-Haul place. We turned it in. Everything was good. And we called an Uber. And we walked to the corner. So the U-Haul guys were still there, And it wasn't dark yet. But here comes a couple of guys. They were not, how shall I say? They were not with it completely. And they're pushing a city bike, those rentable city bikes. And I'm thinking, I don't think you rented that with your credit card. And the guy that's pushing the bike he's talking. And I don't know, trying to sing something, I don't know. And they stopped. So we're here in the corner, driveway, and then this thing stopped. And they're taking out this piece of paper, and they're leaning over, and I'm like, they're going to snort coke right in front of me. And then, so we're just sitting there on a corner, waiting for our Uber, who's named Darling. And I'm like, Darling, you better hurry up. And across the street, and a little ways down, is another guy, and this guy with the bike, hey, so-and-so. And there was 2 guys, but that guy that was yelling and hollering, he gets a wad of cash and pulls out money, and he walks over there, and I'm like, oh,
drug deal.
They're buying drugs right here in front of me, and I hope they don't mind that I've seen them. I hope they don't get mad about it. And then he came back, and the other guy had another, more money, and he went over there too, and I'm like, okay. And it looks like he's about to, lay something out, and I'm like, okay. And then one of the U-Haul guys comes and gives him a fist bump. So he must be like a, regular around there,
yeah.
Just a guy they know. And I love it. It's kindness. But still, I'm like, they seem nice, but I just hope they're not mad about it.
Rob told us the other day, that there's a couple of people that come by and they just want to use the restroom. They're drug addicts, homeless, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He works at a bar,
yeah.
not downtown. It's but there are a lot of homeless people around there, and they don't care. You know they're nice and they're polite and they let them use the restroom and get some water. They give them water and stuff. He said, well, one day one of the guys that they knew well, he said sometimes they bring in, like, if somebody gives them some money and they get some extra stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it brought them some ice cream bars. What kind did he say?
Klondike?
No, it
No.
wasn't Klondike, but it was like that. It was
Yeah.
nice little ice cream bars, Dove ice cream, or I don't know what. And
Oh, yeah.
and he and his boss, were like, oh yeah, thanks, so they were eating their ice cream, and then somebody else started messing up. And his boss says to him, if you make me put down my ice cream, I'm going to set you on the ground. Because, that here ice cream is one of those things that you...
It's the only thing that makes you feel good in the heat.
Yeah.
But, so they were pretty innocuous drug buyers. And while we were there, a cop pulled in, and I was like, well, that's good, at least. But they didn't, stop the conversation. Anyway, then Darling came, picked us up. And by then the kids were done cleaning, so it was really nice. And so we were finished, and we'd gotten the U-Haul away, and
now no one had anywhere to sleep.
And we knew that the next day, so I called my friend, and I was like, is it okay if Hannah's friend comes and spends the night with us? Because he has nowhere to sleep. And she's like, of course. So he came, we went over, by the time he was done with his place, it was pretty late, but we had gotten dinner, and we got him some dinner, and so we all came and showered and crashed and had a nice night. Well, and then on the first itself, they had said, the guy said, well, they're going to be out at 10, and I'm going to get my cleaners there, and it's going to be great, and then you guys can come and, get everything moved in. And their third roommate was going to move in that afternoon. So then, while we were laying around trying to get the wherewithal to go, Hannah gets a text that they said that, the cleaners can't come until between 3 and 6 in the evening. And I told him, just cancel it. Just cancel it. We'll clean. You have a whole cleaning crew right here. Mm-hmm. And the kids that left, they left it pretty good. And so, I cleaned the kitchen and scrubbed all the everything and the bathroom, and and Mark, helped them move their stuff and swivel the floors and everything, and it was fine. It was fine, and the third roommate came and everything, and then we had planned with her friend CJ and her best friend Jordan. We had planned a game night, and we invited the third roommate, Mikey, sweet kid, and so they all came out. Well, okay, so here's the blessing part of it. If everything had gone the way I wanted it to, and they had moved out, and the way I originally thought, and we had to move on the first, we would have been moving all of their stuff in the pouring rain. Mm. Absolute pouring rain, because by then those hurricane ribbons were up there, and you heard what happened in New York. It was the same thing in Boston. Not as bad, but it was pouring all day. So we spent the first just in there helping them move all the furniture around and getting rooms set up, and so it was nice, and the apartment wasn't hot, which was a blessing. And then,
so does she have air conditioning after all, or
no? But we're thinking about getting her a window unit if it's too bad. But it's going to be fall in a second. It's going to be
it's already, and it gets cold.
It's getting better, yeah. So. But her roommate brought one, and one of the rooms has one. So so
there's
so
that's good.
They can put one in the kitchen or something if they want. But it's nice. It has a little back porch, and then they have their apartment building, which I guess 3 or 4 floors. I'm not sure. Has a little back porch, and then there's a concrete area, and then there's a raised grass thing up there, where that's for their use, so that we could have a barbecue up there, or they could. Her roommate's like, we could do a concert. So it's cute. Nice little place. So then that night we went back and crashed, And then the kids came and we had pizza and games, and we taught them how to play hand and foot. And so the same pizza place that we'd gotten the pizza from that midnight is we ordered from there. And I was like, all right, we're gonna have 4 kids over plus us, so 7 people, and we could get 2 different pizzas, a cheese pizza and a veggie pizza. And it's college kids. Let's get extra larges, because I thought, extra. Those extra large pizzas barely fit through the door. I've never seen pizzas that big. Literally, I have never. I can't even describe to you how big. I don't know how big they were. They were giant. They were like giant. And so, but of course, the kids put them away, so it was good, and we just sent the leftovers with them. But
it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you ordered extra larges, because probably mediums would not have been enough food.
Or larges even. But yeah, so it was good. It was really good, and we ate pizza and we played games, and
because college kids can put away the food, especially college boys.
I feel very proud of us that we can still make 20-year-olds laugh. You know what I mean? Like, you think, am I an old fogey parent? You know. But it was fun. We had so much fun, and we told Hannah, we hope we didn't embarrass you or anything. She's like, no, everybody had fun. I love all those kids. They're like my little chickens, and so we had a really good time. And we had breakfast with Hannah the next day, and we took off to the airport. So it was funny and good and hard. It was a lot of like by the time we'd done all the moving and walking and stairs and everything, we were all broke up. Like, I didn't even want to go downstairs to go to bed. But and my feet still hurt, but it was good. It was so good to see her. And
it reminds me of when you moved from the apartment to the house on Redfield here in Phoenix. I was out visiting,
and I made her help me.
and so we spent. Well, some friends of yours came over and helped move all the furniture. And so you and I were there cleaning your apartment, and there was no place to sit. There was a step ladder, and we took turns sitting on the step ladder.
Yeah. But this was worse because it was that plus stairs.
Yeah.
So, but
at
least it wasn't like when I moved to Phoenix, July 15th,
my birthday.
and we arrived there with 3 animals, because Dad's dog and my dog and my cat, and my parents, who were elderly, and everybody, and we arrive at my house that I'm renting, and there is no air conditioning
in the middle of July.
And the house had been baking in the heat all day, and so it was like
probably for many
90
days.
Some degrees in the house.
Yeah. So we all crammed into my tiny little 2-bedroom condo. Yeah. No, I paid you back for that day, Beth.
I know.
I paid you both back.
when you moved into that condo, and that Hannah was crawling. Remember, she crawled around, and her knees and her feet were
because I hadn't been able to clean it yet, and the tile was dusty and dirty, and her hands were black. And I'm like, here, stay in the playpen. And then suddenly, after we moved, she learned how to walk. She learned how to walk somehow in that playpen because when we had everything cleaned and we set her down again, she was walking. But so I mean, moving is never fun. But but it all worked out. And you know what I thought about that night that we were playing games, and these kids that she knows that are surrounding her. I'm like, it's so hard to leave your kid, but it is so much easier to know that she has good people, good people around her, and it was so nice to be able to have them out. They're so sweet and respectful, and engaged, and young people that want to talk to old people are always nice. You know what I mean? We had a lot of fun, which is neat, and so it makes it easier to know that she's surrounded by good people, and the neighborhood where she is going to be nice, and it's far out. The only way she can get to school is by the train.
When I saw the stairs at that place,
well, I'll put up pictures, but
I thought, well, at least flooding with the storms isn't going to be a problem.
Well, no, it could flood from the back because the back is even.
The back is even with the ground. Oh,
yeah. Well, when she came out for breakfast the next day, because it rained all day on the 1st, and then at night it was torrential. I was even worried because where we slept, you know, the brownstone on the street level in the front, you know, like the bedrooms are down. So like my son was in the front room, and so when you were outside, you could see his bedroom windows on the ground right there, right? So, and then the stairs go up, and then that's where the first floor is. And then, but out the back, that first floor is up and up in the air. Like you walk out and there's a terrace, and you look down and there's the ground. And so you go in the bedrooms on the lower floor. If you can walk straight out into that terrace. So there's, you know, you're on the ground level there. So, you know, it's built kind of that way. But I kept thinking, is water going to come in that back door? You know, if by the bedroom where we were. But she told me, so it rained all night that night, and we were really worried. But she said on the morning of the 2nd, when she came out to breakfast, she said, I had to get off the T and take a bus from one stop to another because the subway had flooded. Yeah, not as bad as New York, but you know, there were some problems. But yeah, so we feel good about her senior year launch, and thinking about maybe going back out for her recital, and
just no walking.
Oh man, but no, there's nothing you do. You have to.
I remember going out I couldn't go to your graduation in May, but I went to your senior recital in March, and it was freezing cold out there. Yeah. Still, because the even though it was technically spring, I guess there was still snow on the ground in the shadows, and it was still very cold.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's about to be fallish and cold, and and it's funny because when she was in Connecticut over the summer, they got tons of rain, tons and tons of rain. And remember, I said, she's like, Mom, my shoes won't dry out, so we ordered her some Talisman rain boots, because then it wasn't so bad after that. But she had the rain boots, but she was really glad that she had them the night they were coming for the game night. I was like, I hope you're smart and wore your rain boots. And she's like, I did. So at least she's got that. And she's got warm boots too. And she's got, I'm just like, and I heard them talking a little bit about it. I was like, they're going to have to ice those. I mean, like, shovel and salt those stairs. Oh, please don't fall down the stairs in the winter. I'm going to be so worried about that.
Well, my first apartment in Little Rock, the rain gutter didn't meet the ceiling, and you know where I lived there was an old turn of the century house, and then they had put an addition on the back to make more apartments, and so where my door was the back of the original house, and I shared a porch with the apartment behind mine, which was on the addition, and so the two roofs came together right over my little porch area, but the little rain gutter thing didn't go. There must have been a gap there, because whenever it would rain, there would be a waterfall, you know, coming down off of there, instead of the water coming down the gutter, and the little spout, you know, the rain spout was over here, and there was like little bit of water coming down there, but then like a ton of it would come down there. But so then when it snowed, there'd be a big ice dam, like big ice thing hanging down from the roof, and the porch would have little blobs of ice where, you know, it had melted and come down and frozen on the porch, and so
you don't slip on sunshine.
You had to like walk around, you know.
Yeah, I'm very nervous about those stairs, so they better figure it out. They better watch the weather. But
like Dennis Newkirk always said, you don't have to shovel warm.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a really long time.
Yep, we better go.
Yeah.
But that was my adventures this week in Boston. I'm going to put up some pictures for you. It was fun. It was exhausting. And
my whale now has an eye.
Oh, good
and I
for
finished
you.
his mouth.
I'm not done with Clue.
That's because the whole time you were talking, you weren't.
I did. I was. Actually, this is... Oh, I'm on the last row.
Here.
So by the time I take pictures for this, I will show you all of Clue 2. And next week, maybe I'll have Clue 3 done. Very cute. Thanks so much for joining us. Please check out our 411 project video, which will be linked below, and we will see you next week. Oh, we are almost to 100 subscribers. So we're going to have a giveaway once we reach there.
Yeah, we're
So
still hovering,
we're
just
hovering
below
96, 97.
100.
So come on. We guys got 3 of you. We just need 3 or 4 of you.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends and
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps us out, and we're itching to give away our fun prize.
We've put together a really nice package,
Yeah.
so we'll tell you more about it once we reach 100.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
hopefully it'll be next week. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.